back, and I'm very proud of myself for not waiting an entire week to do another video. So yeah, but what I want to do today is I'm gonna go over some cable only leg exercises. So in a lot of gyms they have what is called a cable tower, which you'll see in the video, and a cable tower has the option where you can have different handles, attachments, whatever, and you attach it to the cable tower and you can manipulate how tall or how low you want the setting to be, and you can do a lot of different exercises with it. The reason I like the cable tower is because you can do basically an entire workout from one location, and it's just very convenient. And if the gym is crowded, you don't want to mess with the dumbbells, if you hurt your hand, whatever it is, you can basically get an entire workout just from this one location. So I wanted to show a lot of exercises here just because I know a lot of people are either limited in equipment or time, or they feel nervous about going into the gym, so this is a good transitional type of workout to get you more comfortable in the setting. I know, especially if you're a female, it can be very hard to like go into a weight room where there's a bunch of males constantly like grunting and like picking up very heavy weights that they usually shouldn't be lifting, and doing a lot of like pushing and like pulling movements. So don't be afraid, it'll be okay. I still have to sometimes get used to it, and it's been a while since I've been going to the gym, so I'm here for you. And as a result, I'm going to show you a bunch of exercises you can do from one corner just so you can get yourself situated and it'll all be okay. Now, all the exercises I'm going to show in this particular video are going to be leg exercises. We all know that's my favorite, and it's my favorite for a variety of reasons that I'm going to go over, but in my next video I'll have a bunch of upper body exercises you can do from just like the cable as well, so I promise. Just ignore that. I promise it'll be okay. So I'm going to go over these exercises with my little laptop over here showing you which ones I'm doing, sorry. And we're going to go from there. And at the end of the video I'll explain why I enjoy working legs so much, and then how that fits into the entire fat loss type of situation. I wanted to clear a misconception at the end of the video, basically that lifting weights will increase like weight gain, and like how I would try and convince people, because I believe that lifting weights is actually the best way to build a better looking physique or a better looking body. So stick around for that, and let's hope that my bracelets don't add too much unnecessary sound. And yeah. The first exercise that I'm going to go over is a cable deadlift. So essentially I'm putting my feet on plates because I want the extra height so I can stretch more. It's not necessary, but it just allows you to go lower. And I'm holding a straight bar type of grip that you can see in the video. I'm going down, but I'm keeping my back straight so I don't get injured, because lower back injuries are really, really bad, and they can mess with like a lot of stuff in terms of how you live your day-to-day life. So I try and avoid that. So do it safely, contract your core, like suck in your ab muscles as tight as you possibly can, and then do this movement. A mistake I often see is people will round their back to go down, when in reality you should be pushing your hips back and then coming down. And I did it with more of a straighter leg just so I could hit my hamstrings more, because I just felt like hitting my hamstrings more. If you bend your legs more, then you'll just activate different muscles in your legs, which is fine as long as you don't feel any pain in your back and you just feel your muscles in your legs working, you're set. So be careful, choose a lighter weight and like work your way up so you can understand like where you're going, and focus on stretching the muscle as much as you can, especially if you're a beginner, so that you can feel where the muscle contracts, lengthens, and all of that fun stuff. And this is just a different view of it, like a little closer up so you can see the type of grip. The setting is at the lowest height setting, and that's for obvious reasons, so you can bring it up because that's the nature of the movement. That was a really bad explanation, I apologize. But again, this works your hamstrings, which is basically the back of your leg. And the other cool thing about this is it's technically a compound movement, so it works a lot of muscles at the same time, and that just means you're burning more calories, so you can eat more food after. Yeah. That's how I look at that. Okay, we're just gonna watch the rest of this. exercise we're going to do is called a front squat, and I'm using the cable. So I switched the grip, so it's one that's narrower. You can still hold the bar against you. There's nothing wrong with that, whatever you prefer. I just want to show some variations in case your gym has different types of stuff you want to try. And I'm holding the weight against my chest and then keeping my back straight and basically sitting down and up in between my, like, using my hips to go down in between my knees. It's a basic squat, but you need to be careful that you're not rounding your back to come down, or you're not rounding your shoulders. Sit up straight, like grow another inch. I swear, like when I focus on like sitting up, I'm not like a tall person, but I like seemingly look a lot taller, so try it. And your posture is very important to like just make this a safer exercise. What's cool about the cable is because the weight is loaded in front of you like this, there's less of a chance that you can get injured like with like a dumbbell or a barbell. So if you're a beginner to this exercise, it's a good way to like get used to it. So I like highly recommend it. This next exercise is very difficult, but I think everyone should try it, even if it's just like with a lower weight or no weight at all. And it's called a squat walk. You hold the squat position, you walk back 4 to 6 steps, you squat up and down, you walk up 4 to 6 steps in the squat position. It hurts, it is very difficult, it is very painful, but again, like just keep thinking about it, like the more you work or the harder it is, the more like cake you can eat after, or in my case like cookies, because that's my favorite. But again, keep your back straight, hold the weight against you, don't let it don't jostle it around, just hold it against you, and make sure your upper body is tight, because that way you'll just make sure you protect yourself a little bit more. I did not enjoy doing this. This is one of the very few times I've done this exercise, and I was dying, and the weight was at like 10 pounds. So don't be afraid to like do it without weight at first, or with like only a few pounds on the thing. This is a reverse lunge. You could do it with like your front leg elevated if you wanted. I'm doing them like a standard reverse lunge, so stepping back, sitting down, and then coming up, and I'm alternating my legs. You can do one leg at the same time and then like do the other leg afterwards if you want to burn a little bit more, but this is a completely fair way to do it. I love doing it this way. And what's cool about holding the weight in front of you is that you're like pushing your body back to make sure you don't fall, so you're squeezing a lot of your back muscles and your core while trying to keep your body straight and working your legs, so it's just a lot of stuff happening at once. But if you can get this movement down, I swear it's just a very effective exercise, and it really helps like build and shape like the side of your leg. That's where I feel it, like the front, so that it can kind of like curve nice. I don't know, it makes sense to me in my head. But the exercise I pair that with is a curtsy lunge. I am obsessed with curtsy lunges. I do at least one type of curtsy lunge every workout I do, because I think they are one of the most underutilized exercises, and I will say that every single time I do them. And the idea is by bending backwards, you're squeezing the side glute muscle and your quad to come back up. Use your heel, so the leg that's stationary, the leg that's not like moving backwards, is the one that's working in this exercise. Use your heel to push back up, so that way you're not like using your toes or hurting your knees, but you're activating like the more stubborn muscles, which are basically your glutes and your quads. So do that, and I swear this will be one of your favorite exercises at some point, I hope. The next exercise that I'm doing, I don't know the technical name for it. I call it a rope deadlift because of the nature of the movement. It's a little different than the squat because of the way you're pulling the weight forward. And this is amazing for targeting the back of your leg again. It's very easy for me to work the front of my leg, a little harder to work the back, so I try and like balance that out a little bit. By squat, when you come all the way up, make sure you're squeezing and coming just a little bit more forward than you need to make sure the muscles are activated, and sit down as low as you can and then come back up while keeping your back straight. If your back is like rounding as you come down, then you know you're either doing a weight that's too heavy for you, or you're trying to go much lower than your body is able to at this given point. So you have to work your way up or work your way down, and I swear it'll get better. And this is just another view of it, so you can see like this is how low I'm going before I realize that my back is curving, so then I come back up. And I don't want my back to curve because it'll just cause problems in the long run, and this is like a safety concern that I want everyone, whoever's watching this, all 4 of you, to like hammer into your skull that if it could cause long-term issues, it's not worth doing right now. Like, work your way up there. and I'm using the rope attachment, but I've seen people do the smaller handle. I've seen people use like a straight bar and hold it, so whichever one you're comfortable with based on like your grip strength and based on like what's available. This is a cable rope pull through. I've seen people also use like a different grip for this. This is my preferred grip, so I'm going to keep doing it this way because I enjoy it. It's again a different type of deadlift or good morning, and for those who don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Just focus on how I'm moving my body, and I'm pushing my hips back and then pulling the weight up while coming up. I'm using my hips to come up. I'm not using my back. I'm not using my arms, but I'm using my hips, so basically my legs, to pull myself up. That's the key to this exercise and the key to making sure it's a good leg exercise and not a way for you to kill your lower back. If you round your back, if you are just like rounding down and up, trying to mirror the movement, then it won't work. It'll just make you uncomfortable. So focus on using your heel also. If you push through your heel and visualize your heel connected to the back muscles of your legs, I found that that helps me realize that I need to use my heels and my legs to push up. And it's also a very good exercise for practicing deadlifts or for practicing bigger movements, so that when you get to that level in the gym, it's a lot easier for you to figure out, oh, I need to use like my glutes or my hips in order to manipulate the weight. This is a staple exercise that I really like. I showed the two types of attachments. So I have the wraparound to get for my ankle, but for people who haven't bought that from Amazon like I have, you can use the normal handle, and that's what I'm demonstrating here to show that it's possible. And these are just glute kickbacks. Very popular exercise. Just make sure you keep your back straight, and that when you kick up, it's not a contest of like height. You don't have to kick all the way high in the air like a horse. That's not necessary, and it won't make the movement better for you. Just make sure you're kicking back and that you feel it in your glute. I tend to make sure that I'm using my heel to kick back while also keeping my toes like flexed, so a little up, and that really helps me feel it. And another really cool thing about this exercise, in case you need more convincing to do it, is that it's good for maintaining like your core strength and for your balance, because you have to keep your body still while you're kicking one leg back and forth. I'm holding onto the machine or the wall or whatever, so if you need to do that, that's obviously perfectly fine. Very few people can do this without that. But when you're doing that, make sure your back isn't like this. You want your back like this. I don't know if this will help you visualize what I'm trying to say. The next exercise that I always do back to back with this is a cable abductor. An abductor basically means working the outside muscles of your legs. So like the Curtsy Lunge is doing this, this is more of a smaller movement that isolates that muscle. Again, I'm holding myself against the machine and kicking out. And the key to this is to make sure you're not like swaying your body back and forth when you're like kicking your leg out and in. So choose a weight that you can handle, come out as much as you can, and then you don't have to go all the way up like the hip level. I don't think that that's necessary to feel it, especially if you have a weight against your ankle. But I kept the handle, if you can see, against my foot, and I'm just pushing against the handle, and that really helps me keep still and make sure that it's not like moving around. If you can invest in one of the like straps, then that's probably a lot better, because it's easier to control the weight without having to worry about it slipping. But if you don't have the resources for that, then this is a perfectly acceptable alternative. I'm sorry about my leg. The next exercise and the last one is a side lunge. I've never tried these before, I'll be honest. This was the first time, and I was very happy to try it because it was a lot of fun. So basically you keep the attachment where it was for the abductor, the previous exercise, and then you step out, do a lunge, and then come back. Step out, do a lunge, and come back. It's a very straightforward movement. I enjoy it a lot, and it's again a more of a compound movement, so you're working a bunch of different muscles at once. Again, keep your core really tight when you're doing this, just to make sure, and you can see like me switching the weight so I can like show you how you would do this. Usually I edit this part out, but I wanted to show like the transitional elements so you can see, oh, she's not like magically using the same machine the same way the entire time. No, I had to change it. So again, step out and then step in, but make sure you're squeezing your leg muscles to come up with your heel. Don't use your toes. You won't build toe muscle. Like it's not gonna work. So use your heel to push up and come back in, and that'll be it. I did approximately 3 sets of each exercise, 10 to 15 reps. I have it listed there. and do what you can and work your way up. If you have any questions, then let me know. Some of these exercises are a little bit different and away from the norm for a lot of people. That's fine. It's how you get better at this. If someone asks you why you're using a cable machine for your entire workout, tell them to go away. It's none of their business, and it'll be okay. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to give more options for different exercises for people with limited equipment or for people who wanted to try something different. So I hope that worked. And what I wanted to talk about was the idea of lifting weights making you gain weight. And essentially the problem I have with this statement is that by lifting weights, you actually activate more muscle fibers in your body, and you're building muscle as soon as when you contract or lower a weight, you're basically tearing muscle tissue. And then when that repairs as it's supposed to, it comes back stronger, a little bit bigger, and that just means it requires more energy to sustain itself. So the reason I keep saying that the more weights you lift or the more muscle you have, the more you can get away with in terms of eating is because your entire body needs more calories that way in order to survive. And it's just like the most logical way for me to figure out how to consume more dessert in my life. But don't be afraid of looking like bulkier or looking manly, because it is possible for some women to achieve that look, but they have to work exceptionally hard and train exceptionally differently than males do in order to attain that. None of the training I recommend is meant to have that type of proportioning be the result, so I make sure that everything I'm telling you is so that you can build a physique that is very well balanced. And the key to that is to make sure you don't neglect any muscles and you don't overtrain other muscles. So I'd say do lower body 50% of the time, upper body 50%, and then manipulate that way. And if that went over your head and none of that made any sense, then don't worry about it. And I hope you come back for another workout. Hopefully I can explain this more coherently next time, but I wanted to address it because it came up where someone asked me why I don't just run to lose weight, why I bother like building muscle and becoming like a bigger person. I've basically been the same weight for like 5 years doing a lot of these exercises, so, and my total calorie expenditure, so basically like how many calories my body burns in one day even if I were to do nothing, has actually gone up, which is really cool because that literally means that I can just get away with eating more food. So I wanted to address that. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If any of this video entertained you, please like and subscribe. If none of it entertained you, then kindly exit out. I'm very sorry for not entertaining you enough. And I hope to see you guys next time. If you have anything else that you'd like to see, let me know. And until then,